Ahoy there, Cruise Nerd! Welcome aboard to my channel, DCL Cruise Nerd. My name is Megan and I am your host. Today we will be talking about the announcement CDC made over this past weekend. Alright, Cruise Nerds, so the main topic, like I've mentioned before, is about the Phase 2A that CDC has finally announced this past Friday. Now, a week prior, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis actually had a roundtable meeting over at Port Canaveral with all the major cruise lines, going from Carnival, Norwegian, Royal, including Disney. Now, he has voiced that he is supporting getting the cruise lines back up and running for the cruise industry in Port Canaveral as well as Port of Miami. Port of Miami is very popular, and as well as here in Port Canaveral in Orlando, Florida. So he got all the opinions and concerns from all the cruise lines, including Disney. Thomas Maslum, who said cruise lines, bring a lot of business to the local businesses, including jobs, like for porters, if you have ever cruised on any of these cruise lines before, as well as cast members for Disney that have been on furlough for at least a year, if not less or more, that have taken effect on jobs and how people support their families. So there is a lot to consider, and I believe Florida Governor Ron DeSantis acknowledges that this has affected a lot of people, and so 1 week later, April 2nd, that is when the CDC decides, let's go ahead and go into Phase 2A, which is basically, in a way, a lot of paperwork, so to speak. And then, so that was the big announcement on Friday, April 2nd. Now, on April 3rd, which was Saturday, now, Captain and CEO John Murray of Port Canaveral, he is apparently very disappointed in the CDC announcement, and he was expecting and hoping that we would be in Phase 2B, where the cruise lines can restart. And also, CDC announced that everyone who is vaccinated with their 2 shots of the vaccine, whether if that's Pfizer, Moderna, or even if they did the singular dose of Johnson & Johnson, they can go ahead and start traveling internationally. And in a way, that's a little heartbreaking that the CDC says that's okay, but not on cruising. But hopefully we hear more information soon, and hopefully we get to cruising sometime this summer, especially after the cancellation of June cruises for Disney. Yeah. Also, actually, on April 6th, according to one news article, CDC is saying that they might even reopen by summer of this year to restarting on test cruises and see how that works. Now, that's all the announcements as of the timeline when it took into effect. Now, what is in this Phase 2A? Now, this is mainly on the cruise lines part, paperwork. And as well as, so some of the things that have changed from Phase 1 to Phase 2A is that instead of the crew members quarantining for 28 days, they can now just quarantine for 14 days, which is a plus. That's a major jump. And then, so they just have to report daily cases of COVID-19, if any. Also implementing a routine for testing for crew members that is based on the ship color. Now, the ship color is basically if they're in the red, yellow, or green zone. And then also updating the color code system. So basically updating if they're in the green, updating if they're in the red, so on and so forth. So they can go ahead and say, okay, you're in the green, you can start your cruising and test cruises. That kind of system. Now, also, they need to establish a plan and timeline for vaccinations for their crew members on board the ship as well as personnel at the terminals. So by this time, I'm pretty sure a majority of the people do have their vaccinations for the personnel that's in the terminals. Now it's probably just time to get the crew members vaccinated so they can come back onto the ship and they can restart the sailings. Now also, the cruise lines need to create a plan and also planning materials for port authorities, not just here in the U.S. but also in other ports of call. So if there is an outbreak of COVID-19, what is the cruise line's plan in order to make sure that COVID-19 does not spread across the ship and to other guests and to other crew members, if anything? And that's pretty much all that Phase 2A includes. Now, I have no doubt these cruise lines already have majority of this into place, and they're just waiting for the CDC to go into the next step. So hopefully we hear something in the next few weeks, if not months. Fingers crossed it's sooner rather than later. Alright, cruise nerds, thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, as well as follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter for more breaking news and announcements. I hope everyone has a magical day. Have faith, trust, and pixie dust, and I'll see you real soon on board.